It's Bijah Nicole, and on this month's episode of Your LexPD, we're going to be visiting the future. And for the Lexington Police Department, the future is now.
We'll be highlighting technology that officers use to keep Lexington safe. That's what the Real-Time Intelligence Center, or RTIC as we like to call it, is doing.
So let's step into the state-of-the-art world of police technology.
And answer some questions that the community may have to see how these systems work and to keep Lexington safe.
All right, last month we had a conversation with Chief Weathers, and one of the things that we talked about was technology and how technology has changed policing. So what a better place to be this month than in the Real-Time Intelligence Center.
We are here today with Matt Greathouse, Commander of the Special Investigations Section. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well.
Outstanding. So let's talk a little bit about technology. First of all, this is impressive, right? How did we get here?
It's been a long road. So we started this about 3 years ago, looking at the ability to potentially record our traffic cameras. And years and years and years ago, they started the traffic camera network, which was about 20 years ago. And the cost to record that was very prohibitive. It was very, very expensive. And over the years, we've seen that come down. And it came down enough that where we thought we could potentially start that. And as we started that, down that road, we found Flock. Actually, Flock found us. They were conducting a national study, and they were looking for volunteer agencies to participate in a study to look at the LPR network and how that actually affects crime. And so they chose us, and they gave us 25 free cameras if we agreed. So we took that to our council, and they approved that. Then we started with that. So we kind of paused our traffic camera recording at that stage to get our Flock camera network installed. So once we got that installed, then we went back to our traffic recording capability, and we started that, I think, about 1.5 years ago and exploring that. So what we did is we bought servers, and we own those. So we don't have to pay any extra service for that. We just record all of the video here now. What's good about that is those cameras are in 135 intersections. There's about 620 feeds total. And we've had a lot of crime that happens in those intersections, or people use the roadway to get to and from those crimes. We focused on violent crime in the very beginning, and we've seen an impact on that. We've been able to get factors for solving those crimes very quickly for our detectives, but what we've seen is it affects all parts of our crime. From property crimes to petty crimes to hit and runs to just about anything the police does, we've seen a huge impact, not only with the traffic camera network, but also with our Flock LPR cameras.
So what would you say are some misconceptions that the public may have with these cameras?
So the misconceptions, they're long. The Flock, let's start with Flock if you don't mind. We'll start with Flock. People think that when we take a picture of a rear vehicle that we get all kinds of information. And what we'll do is we can show that on our camera or our screen over here later on. But what we get as officers, you get a zoomed in picture of the license plate, you get a picture of the rear of the vehicle with the license plate affixed, and then you get a map showing where it is in the county. That's it. You don't get anything else. We've heard from that we're able to see inside vehicles and tell if somebody has a gun. We're able to see somebody's credit history, criminal history, all those things. It is not. It is simply a lead for our officers and detectives to start with. It allows them the capability of zooming into a certain area and looking to see if somebody was in or not in that area when a crime happened. And that's how they're able to use that system. So we don't have the capability of locating. It's not a tracking system or anything like that. For our traffic camera networks, those are all in a public space. So there's no expectation of privacy in public. Anybody can record anybody in public. And those, we've heard that you can see into houses and things like that. They're not in intersections where residential business or residences are. And if there are, they're actually blacked out. They're actually white. There's white boxes over those houses, so we couldn't be able to see in those anyway.
So we've got 3 different components, and as you were talking about misconceptions, and I hear people talk about that all the time. So if I'm driving through an intersection and there's a picture taken of my license plate, does anybody even see it?
No, that's the great thing about it. We take, I would say, somewhere in the neighborhood of several 100,000 pictures a day with our LPR network. If you're not doing anything illegal or you haven't done anything illegal, we're not ever going to see those pictures. Those are kept for 60 days. So you driving your vehicle down an intersection or down anywhere in Fayette County, on the 61st day, if I was looking for your specific vehicle, I can't find it. It's not recorded. It's not there. Those actually drop off after 60 days. So those are gone. But what we link that with is our National Crime Information Computer System. That's been around since the 70s, way before we started in police work, but that's something we've been using that entire time. That's where we put all the people that are wanted, our stolen vehicles, our people that are in danger, stolen weapons, all those things. What it does is it matches or looks for matches in that database. And Flock gets that data about 4 times a day. And so what it looks for is that stolen car. It basically takes a picture of a license plate and says, is this license plate in this list? And if it's not in that list, nobody ever sees it, nobody ever pays attention to it. And the only time it happens is if it pops up, it's like that was a match, and then it sends an alert out to our officers in the street to be able to go give them a lead that there may be a stolen vehicle or some potential criminal activity in that specific area. If there's an available officer, they can go. It's not required, it's not anything like that. So they can go, if they can be there or they're in that area, they can go there and try to investigate that crime. And the good thing is also, if there's somebody that committed a crime, we can go back and look to see if they were in that specific area. And even better, if somebody says they weren't in that area, that we can also prove that too, they weren't in that area. Absolutely.
So what are some successes?
Wow, we've had tremendous success. We had our first 2 Flock cameras installed about 2 years ago, and within 24 hours we had, I think, a stolen vehicle already recovered. At that time, we knew this was going to be very, very successful. So we started with 25. We knew and we thought that we were going to want to expand, and we had potentially looked at asking for 75 more cameras. That was what was in the budget, and we ultimately did ask for that 75 additional for a total of 100 cameras now, because a city our size is somewhere in the neighborhood of between 100 and 150 cameras. So we went to 100 cameras. We've seen tremendous success. We've been able to solve just about any crime that we've had happen here has been used to, that Flock system specifically has been used for solvability factors in those crimes. What's really good about it is those who have loved ones who may have dementia or may have some kind of other ailment where they're not able to find their way home, we've been able to use that network to locate folks that are not only missing here, but also from out of state and reunite them with their loved ones. Those have been the best successes, I think, for our agency and for our community, is to find those that they can't find their way home. We got a call from Ohio that said, we think somebody's in your area. Within an hour, we found them and located them, had them stopped, and called their family and helped them get reunited.
Well, I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about. They think about the crime component, but they don't realize there's a humanitarian side
Absolutely.
to this
Absolutely.
program as well, right? So,
Yes.
Now, what about accountability? That's something that's discussed a lot in policing,
Yes.
obviously, and we have a lot of information here, even though it's not necessarily the information a lot of people thought it was. How are we accountable for this?
Great question. We talked about the retention schedule for these cameras and what we keep those for, and that's for 60 days. Our traffic recordings are for 60 days, and also our Flock LPRs are for 60 days. Every click of the mouse or anything you do to manipulate in that system or any system we have here is recorded for perpetuity. So if you are looking for somebody or somebody ever accuses you of doing something you're not supposed to be doing or using the system inappropriately against policy, we're able to go back and look to see what you were actually doing in the system. That lives forever. So every time a mouse is clicked, it records it every single time, and that lives forever. That doesn't go away after 60 days, which is great, because we're able to go back and look at that. In addition to that, by policy, we do an audit once a quarter. We do that audit, we look at it internally. It goes from my the intelligence unit lieutenant, it comes to me, I reviewed it. It goes to our bureau chief, he reviews it, and then it goes to the public integrity unit, and they review it. And then once it's reviewed all the way through those layers, then it's posted on our website. And then in addition to that, our public integrity does a separate audit all by themselves away from what we do, just to make sure that everything is on the up and up, and that's posted also.
Outstanding. And we talked about bad information, and unfortunately there are still people out there that think that we write traffic tickets. There are still people think that we have all kinds of information that we really don't have access to. So hopefully this has been a tool for the public to realize today that this is about keeping people safe.
Yes.
It's not about invading privacy.
That is correct. And we cannot use these cameras or any other camera for that matter to write speeding tickets or red light tickets. It's prohibited by state law, so we can't do that. An officer has to be present in that specific intersection and see the crime, stop the person to write the citation. Cameras can't be used, and these will not be used for that.
All right, we have talked about Flock cameras and license plate readers. We've talked about traffic cameras and all the ways that they can help the police department, obviously help the citizens. What if I have a doorbell camera? Is there anything I can do?
Absolutely. What we got this year in our budget is called Fusus, and what that does is take everything we had talked about, our traffic cameras, our flock cameras, and any other video camera, and we can mesh it into one screen to include our body cameras. And so on this screen here, you will actually see my body cam is right here down our headquarters. So what this screen is really busy, but I put everything and all the layers on here so we can explain what each one of these are. So the triangles are, there's two different colors. There's a green and a red. The reds are high priority calls, and the greens are low priority calls. You have the gray areas here where you see a number 4 or a 5. Those are our traffic cameras. So those are all listed on the map. We have just regular locations, and then we have officers that are actually out in the field actively taking calls. So this is live right now, and you'll see the screen move and things like that. So our body cameras, there's a few different colors. There's blue, there's gray, and there's green with a red circle that is flashing. The blues mean they're just buffering and they're ready to be recorded if the officers activate them. And then you have the red flashing around the green that you'll see here right downtown. That's somebody actively recording right now.
So at the end of our episodes, we always like to do a safety tip. So I have a camera. So how would I go about registering my camera to be part of the Fusus platform?
Great question. So what you'll do is you will go to our website of connectlex.org. You're going to see this. And so what you'll do is you go down to the register your camera. You're going to scroll down and you're going to get the green tab here and you're going to click register. It's going to ask you a few simple questions at the very beginning. You're going to get your first name, your last name, an email, and a good phone number. The reason these are important is we want to be able to reach out to you if a crime does occur and that's where you live or where your business is. You're going to click next, and then it's going to ask for your address where the cameras are. It's going to ask if it's a residential or a business, and it's going to ask a couple questions of how many cameras do you have inside the business or your residence, or how many cameras you have on the outside. You click that and you hit submit. So what you'll do is you'll get a follow-up email to confirm that you actually have a good phone number, a good email address, and then you're going to pop up on our screen in a blue dot. You're going to be part of the network that's going to help keep our community safe. The only time we're going to see any of those cameras or feeds are only when you share it. So if there's not a crime happening in your area, you're never going to hear from us. If there is, what we're going to do is we're going to send you an email, and it'll come through an email address that you gave us, and it'll ask specifics. We had a crime happen in this area at this specific time. We're asking you to check your video cameras to see if you recorded anything. If you did, there's going to be a link, and you're going to be able to upload that directly to Fusus for our detectives to actually look. We don't have access to any of that camera footage unless you actually share it to us. The next step would be is if you wanted to integrate those cameras, and those were our businesses in our community. We're asking them to participate to help keep our community safe. After you register, then you would be able to go online also, the same website, to go purchase a core device, and that would come from Fusus, and once you get that, they would actually help you integrate that into our system. That's when we would be able to view the cameras live and provide that real-time intelligence to our officers and our firefighters that are responding to your specific location.
But if I just want to register, is there any cost for that?
Registering is free.
Okay.
It is zero cost, and it takes less than 60 seconds to register.
All right, so Commander, you mentioned earlier about the importance of witness information. So if I see a crime happen, maybe I don't see everything, right? Is that why the video is so important?
It is. This is a human factor. If something traumatic happens to you, or you don't know you're actually witnessing something that may be important, it's very hard to recall specifics like what somebody was wearing, the specifics, the colors of their shoes or their clothes, the direction they may or may not have went, the car they were driving, the number of people. So the video is extremely important to provide that real-time intelligence to the officers that are responding. So we have that precision policing we're looking for, that we're going specifically after those that are committing the crimes.
We would like to thank Commander Greathouse today for talking to us about Arctic and what that means for Lexington.
All right, so the holiday season is coming up. So next month's episode, we're going to be looking at property crimes, burglaries, breaking in cars, those types of things, and how Lexington can stay safe during the holidays.
So please join us next month for your LexPD.